Hello and welcome all once more to Southern Maine, or Central Maine, excuse me, Community College in Auburn for the second half of this afternoon's doubleheader in the Greater Northeast Collegiate Baseball League between the Norsemen and the hosting Nor'easters. We are about to get set going pretty soon, but on the mound for the home Nor'easters is Colin McDonald, and he will be facing a lineup of Chris Cimino, Anthony Poole, Riley Hassan, Cam Doohan, Nate Rogers, Kevin Connolly, Ben Seguin, David Jurowitz, and Davis Kibler. Meanwhile, the defense around McDonald, he's got Merrill Ketching, Graffam at first base, Lappin at second base, Max Cloutier at third base, Luke Chessie at short, Chris Balzano in left, Hunter Brissett in center, Ryan Robertson out in right. Normally he's the catcher, doing a bit of fielding today. And Dawson Gunlaw, the designated hitter. We are right about ready to get set going here between the 4-3 Nor'easters and the 2-3-1 Norsemen. Leading off for Matt Rogers' Norsemen squad is Chris Cimino. He will face off with McDonald as the lights come on here in Ahmerd, and he looks at a high ball. We are underway. Cimino is a senior at Bates, Scarborough native, graduated from Cheverus High School, takes a strike. Hit .318 with 7 doubles, 13 steals, 21 runs batted in as a junior. Chops that one down the first baseline foul. Grounds that one out to second baseman, throws on to the first baseman, Graffam, to get the first out of the inning. Gus Lappin was at second making that throw. And that will bring up Anthony Poole, a junior at USM. 6-foot right-hander from South Portland, hit .308 with 3 doubles, 7 runs batted in for the Huskies his sophomore year while majoring in marketing. He's in center today. Swings and misses at that one. McDonald offers right down the middle, strike 2. McDonald, meanwhile, on the mound, he is a sophomore at USM, 1 year behind his college teammate Poole. Gorham native, that's outside for a ball. He is third in the GNCBL in ERA, 1.68. We saw numbers 1 and 2 on that leaderboard in the first game. So just a who's who of top-level pitching talent as he gets Poole to cut and miss for his first strikeout of the evening. Quick 2 down. Now here comes Riley Hassan, senior at Johnson and Wales, South Portland native. He's third in the GNCBL in batting average, .455. Hit .430 at Johnson and Wales with 6 home runs, 64 runs batted in. Fouls that toward his own dugout after transferring from St. Anselm. It's a 6'3" left-hander, South Portland High School graduate. One of the most terrifying hitters on this Norseman lineup. Again, cuts it foul. McDonald with 2 away in the top of the first, deals. Looks at a ball outside, does Hassan. The extra hitter today, that one also low. 2-2. And that's hit well, right up the middle. Shortstop able to grab it, throw on to Graffam to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down to begin this one. Nice clean inning for McDonald. We will see the Nor'easter bats when we come back. Bottom of the first set to begin with the Norsemen's ace, Lucas Francis, taking the mound with his submarine delivery. Francis is a senior at USM, finalist for Mr. Maine Baseball in high school at Lisbon High School. And the lineup he will face is Dawson Gunlaw, Andrew Merrill, Luke Chessie, Brady Graffam, Jack LeBlanc, Chris Balzano, Gus Lappin, Ryan Robertson, Hunter Brissett, and Max Cloutier. With the defense around him of Kevin Connolly doing his catching. Seguin at first, Chris Cimino at second, Cam Dewin at third, Davis Kibler at short, Nate Rogers in left, Anthony Poole in center, and David Jurowitz in right. As Dawson Gunlaw ready to stand in, he is number 1 in the Greater Northeast Collegiate Baseball League in average, hitting .538 as he chops that foul for strike 1. He's also third in slugging. He's a senior at St. Joseph's. Francis 0-1. Grounded to short. Throwing on over to Seguin at first and over his head. And running in safe will be Gunlaw. Davis Kibler's throw went a bit high. And so a leadoff base runner on the error will bring up Andrew Merrill. A sophomore at East Connecticut State doing the catching today. He's from Oxford Hills. .62 righty, a River Rats alumnus. Francis sizes him up and deals. That's just inside for a ball. It's chip foul for strike 1. One and one. That's outside. Francis had a .489 ERA in 46 innings pitched for USM while majoring in history. Chip foul for strike 2. Two the count. Merrill getting his first look at one of the hardest deliveries to read in this league. Gets his bat on that, though. Grounds it to third. Thought it might be foul, but third baseman Cam Dewin connecting with Seguin for the first out of the inning. Now the man in the 3-hole for the Nor'easters is Luke Chessie, also at short. Senior at Bowdoin. 5'10 right-hander, Thornton Academy graduate. Swinging a miss. He's a dual threat hitter and pitcher. He had .415 ERA and 17 1/3 innings pitched with Bowdoin, also 8 strikeouts, while also batting .262 with 3 dingers. Quick 0-2. Francis starting to find his groove. The teams here had very little time to warm up. They went right from one game into the next, so you may see a little bit of rust. That's popped up into shallow right. And David Jurowitz makes that catch. Advancing to second is Dawson Gunlaw. And Brady Graffam now will bat. He's playing first base tonight. Sophomore at USM. 2 years behind his college teammate Francis. He looks at a ball. Another Thornton Academy graduate. Had a handful of at-bats with the Huskies as a freshman, just one hit. Fouled into the shin of the catcher Connolly. One. Man on second, 2 outs. Swing and a miss for strike 2. And that's strike 3. He looked at a strike. First K in the books for Francis, as well as his first inning. Total of 7 batters between the two excellent pitchers here. No rust to be seen, at least on the pitching side, as the second inning is set to begin, a 0-0 game. Top of the second now, hitters 4, 5, and 6 due to bat for the Norsemen. The first among them being Cam Dewan, who's at third base today. His brother Kyle has an off day. And so the rising freshman at Colby is batting cleanup against McDonald, who starts him off with a ball. Dewan, like his brother Kyle, a Coney High School graduate, Augusta native. Grounds that to first base. Brady Graffam able to take it himself and one away quickly. And now Nate Rogers, the left fielder, senior at St. Michael's. Did he go around? He did. That's strike 1. From Portland, went to Cheverus High School as well as Falmouth High School, graduated from the former. Ooh, and that hit the umpire right on his face mask. He feels okay, though. One and one count. Norseman manager Matt Rogers expressing his displeasure at the first call. Did not look like he went around, but Rogers lines it to second. Over to first for the second out. Rogers is retired. Still perfect is McDonald through 5 batters. The 6th man to face off against him will be the catcher Kevin Connolly, currently in the transfer portal. Also a Cheverus graduate. Takes strike 1. He was a freshman at Stonehill. Decided to seek a change of scenery. Takes ball 1. His dad, Mike Connolly, the skipper up at Bowdoin. So baseball runs in his veins. The 1-1 from McDonald. That's hit hard. And right at the shortstop. Luke Chessie able to make the play. 3 up and 3 down for the second straight frame. McDonald is dealing. To the bottom of the second we go. Back on campus at Central Maine Community College. Ready to tackle the bottom of the second inning. 3 very quick frames so far. Only one batter has reached base, and that was on an error, so no hits on either side. Francis facing off with Jack LeBlond, who hits that foul. LeBlond, the extra hitter tonight. Senior at USM. Lots of USM players on both sides of this one. Lewiston native, so not far from here. Went to Bridgeton Academy. As a junior with the Huskies, hit 143, 2 home runs, after transferring from UMaine. Francis fires in a ball. This is a tight strike zone, early on at least. 1-1, just outside. Francis facing off another one of his college teammates, and he hit a lot of that one out to left center, running on, and did he make the grab? He did! A crazy diving catch by the center fielder, Anthony Poole, to rob what would have been probably at least a triple, if not 4 bases. But instead, he is extinguished. LeBlond will sit for the first out of the inning. He hit it well, though. 9 times out of 10, likely that does fall for an extra base hit, and fouled back into the net by Chris Balzano, the left fielder, junior out of Roger Williams. Saco native. The second man to face Francis in this inning. Takes a ball. 1-1 is the count. Balzano hit .261 on just 23 at-bats, 6 of them hits, with Roger Williams as a sophomore, while majoring in political science. Grounds that back at Francis, off his glove, but able to regroup and throw on to first for the second out. And now Gus Lappin will bat with 2 away, none on. Second baseman, junior at Husson, majoring in marketing there. Another South Portland native. That's outside. Grounds that at Francis again. Another comebacker and another out. 1, 2, 3 go the Norsemen in the bottom of the second. This game flying by in the early going, just like the last game we saw. We saw that those scoring picked up as the innings went along. We will see if the trend follows as the third inning set to commence here in Auburn. 0-0. The first 6 batters of the Norsemen lineup having been retired in quick succession. Colin McDonald now faces batters 7, 8, and 9 in the top of the third. 7 is number 6, Ben Seguin, Scarborough High School graduate. A trait we share in common. Had 4 at-bats at St. Joseph's last year as a freshman. 2 strikeouts, no hits. Fouls that one back. While majoring in business and sport management. Stands at 5'7". Grounds that in the hole for a base hit between short and third. So the first hit given up by McDonald. Seguin is aboard with none away to lead off this inning. And that will bring up David Jurowitz, sophomore at St. Joseph's. Sudbury, Massachusetts native. And a physical education major. Certainly a common interest there, but that is hit into shallow center for another base hit, rounding second and into third safely is Seguin. So runners on the corners with none out. Jurowitz and Seguin are aboard. McDonald all of a sudden in a jam after breezing through the first 2/3 of this lineup. The number 9 man, Davis Kibler, will try to keep this going. Kibler is a rising freshman at SMCC, coming to the Seawolves after graduating from Coney High School leaving his 15-1 squad. He is an Augusta native, much like the Dewin brothers, with whom he is teammates. Hit .348 and drove in 8 runs at Coney. Looks at a strike. Golfs that one down the left field line, but well foul. Kibler is at short tonight for his Norseman squad. The 0-2 inside. Seguin at third. Jirowitz at first. None away in the top of the third. McDonald throws over to first. No play. The sun has fallen behind the tree buffer between this field and the rest of campus, which means the field is now cloaked in shadow. Runner goes, and that's a double steal, and stealing home safely is Ben Seguin. The Nor'easters catcher, Andrew Merrill, forgot about the first and third double steal meta there, and Jirowitz able to steal second safely as well. Not the best chain of events. But McDonald will deal now with a man on second and a run in. And that is strike 3. So Kibler is the first out. Second K of the night for McDonald. And the lineup now cycles back. Lucas Francis now batting. Also doubling as the team's designated hitter when he's not on the mound. The pitcher showdown, McDonald gets him to cut and miss. That's strike 2. This Nor'easters pitching staff, the best in the league, at least until the vaunted Maine Lightning are able to jump into action. Colin McDonald is third in the GNCBL in ERA, and his staffmate Ryan Penny, who will pitch in their next outing, is fourth, also leads the GNCBL in whip. And Francis down on 3 straight strikes. McDonald gets his second man out. And now the top of the lineup will begin anew. Chris Cimino back to bat after grounding out to second to lead off the game. McDonald offers. That's low. One out. With a man on second, 2 away, 1 run in. That's hit hard into the right center field gap. That's going to be down for a base hit. Rounding third and scoring is David Jirowitz. And an RBI single for Chris Cimino to give his squad a 2-0 lead. McDonald, his hot start has cooled, and Jordan Poole, one of the men he extinguished through his romp through the first 2/3 of the batters as they throw down to first. Nearly a pickoff, but none achieved. Anthony Poole, he struck out. Another throw over to first. The 6-foot righty out of South Portland, center fielder tonight, stands in with 2 men away and a man on first. McDonald wants to get out of this. Keep this a manageable deficit for his Nor'easters squad. The last time these teams met, the last time the Norsemen were out, they were against the Patriots. They won on a furious comeback in a 9-inning game that was capped off by a Kyle Dewin walk-off 2-run homer at the ballpark in Old Orchard Beach. A conduit for magical moments such as that. We'll see if the ballpark here can be any of the same energy. Poole fouls it off. The first game we saw was a comeback, if you want to call it that. A 1-0 deficit turned into an eventual 8-3 win. Runner goes, lined into left field for a base hit, rounding second, and going into third now is Cimino. He's going to round third and be waved home, and he will score on a double. The throw did not reach home plate, and a 3-run inning and counting for the Norsemen. Cimino in on the Anthony Poole double. And a 3-0 lead with Riley Hassan set to bat. He grounded to second his first time up to end McDonald's perfect first frame. Right down the middle for a strike. And that's low. Hassan is the extra hitter, designated hitter of sorts, although Francis is also a designated hitter. Both teams fielding 10-man lineups, as is common. Runner goes, throw down to third, and a better throw may have had him, but as it stands, a third base stolen by Anthony Poole. And so a man on third with 2 away. McDonald trying to get out of this. The offering fouled back to the backstop. McDonald's manager, league organizer Max Zalewski, encouraging him on. Grounded comebacker right at McDonald. Throws on to first to retire the side, but 3 men come around to score. The Norsemen finally get some good looks off of Colin McDonald, and they lead this one 3-0 with the bottom of the third coming up. Bottom of the third now with Lucas Francis back on the mound for his third inning of work. He will face off against against Ryan Robertson, who chops that into the dirt to third base, throwing over to Seguin to get him. Third baseman Cam Dewin making that play. The man I almost misidentified as the batter. Now the batter is Hunter Brissett, the 9th man in this 10-man lineup. He's out in center today, a sophomore USM. He's a countryman of the man on the mound, Francis, both from Lisbon, both Lisbon Falls High School graduates, and he got all that one back to center. And by all of that one, I mean just enough to fall harmlessly into the glove of Anthony Poole. So a quick 2 Batters retired. And now the 10th and final man, Max Cloutier. Third baseman, sophomore at St. Lawrence, Cumberland native, graduate of Greeley High School. Francis deals just inside. Francis has been on fire. The very first batter reached base via an error, and since then, 8 and counting have tried to reach base against him, and none have succeeded. Cloutier up 2-0, though. He hit .214 with 2 doubles, slugged .357 as a freshman at St. Lawrence. 3-0. Not to strike. 3-1 the count. Francis ready to deal. Base is empty, 2 down. And that's hit into right field. Unable to make the running catch is David Jerowitz. And a 2-out runner aboard. Max Cloutier able to solve Francis. The 10th and final man, and the Nor'easters' first trip through their lineup, is able to get the first hit. And now Dawson Gunlaw, the league's current leader in batting average, will try to move him over. He reached on an error, got to second on the Luke Chessie sac fly, and then was stranded there. That's lined into center field for a base hit. Into second goes Cloutier, and he will stay there. So 2 quick hits. Gunlaw aboard for the second time in as many at-bats as one would expect from a hitter of his caliber. Now, Andrew Merrill, who grounded to third his first time up. With runners on first and second, 2 down. Francis, the beginnings of a jam, perhaps. But that's grounded right to the second baseman, Chimino, on to Seguin to end the threat. 2 men reach base. The first 2 hits Francis has allowed, but the scoreboard remains a 0 underneath the Nor'easters as the 4th inning is set to begin. Top of the 4th here in Auburn. Cam Dewin ready to bat against Colin McDonald in his 4th inning of work. Giving up 3 hits, 2 runs, also struck out 3. 3 runs, excuse me. And that's hit high down the left field line. Running on it is the left fielder, and that's off his glove and down. So a double for Dewin. On the error by the left fielder, Hunter Brissett, or Chris Balzano. I'll get the right name eventually. McDonald heading back to the mound to face off with Nate Rogers, who grounded out to second his first time up. One of 3 Norsemen who did that the first time they saw McDonald, and so far both of them have gotten hits. That's low. Sun now beginning to set on this day, the longest day of the year, the first day of summer. Happy summer solstice to all. The sky turning a faint shade of purple. That's a strike. You can't really see it due to the contrast on this camera, but trust me, it's there. One. Taken low. Three and one. McDonald also second in the GNCBL in strikeouts. Coming into this game with 14, he's added 3 to that mark so far. That is a strike to bring the count full. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Catcher Connolly will throw down to complete it. That was Merrill throwing down to complete the swinging strikeout for out number 2. That's the 4th K for McDonald. And that will bring up, once again, the man I just mistakenly identified as the batter, Kevin Connolly, who lined out to short his first time up. McDonald, or Connolly calls for time. It's granted. Now McDonald will deal. In for a strike. With Cam Doohan watching on at second base. 0-1. Did he go around? He did. That ball got past the catcher Merrill, though, so down to third base goes Cam. McDonald's 0-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. He strikes out 2 men in the inning, bringing his game total to 5 already. And is that not strike 3? Excuse me. Just strike 2. Connolly will bat once more. Excuse me, this is... That was the second out. For some reason, I thought it was the third out. That was a strikeout. Now, Ben Seguin will bat. Sorry about that confusion. Seguin singled his first time up. This time, he'll ground to the shortstop. Chessie throws on to get him. A great throw handled by Graffam. And now, for real, the side is retired. A man on third is left there. And the Norseman margin stays at 3. Well, we're just about halfway through the second half of this doubleheader with Lucas Francis back on the mound for a 4th inning of work. His team ahead by 3. He will face a trio of Chessie, Graffam, and LeBlond. Luke Chessie flied out to right his last time up. He's a shortstop today. Grounds that down to third base line, a fair ball. That's going to go all the way into the corner, where even I can't see from my vantage point. Running into second and stopping there is Chessie for a leadoff double. So the Norsemen, or the Nor'easters, getting some better knocks. That's the second hit third hit, that Francis has surrendered. Third in the last 4 batters, though. And now, with a man on second, none out, Brady Graffam, who struck out looking. And looks at a strike to start this plate appearance. Francis threw 3 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 strikeout, no runs. That's strike 2. 0-2, outside. Graffam is a Thornton Academy graduate, business management major at USM. 5'7" right-hander. And that's just low. Brings the count 2-2. With the man on second just barely in frame for those at home. None out. And they lead off double by Chessie. These outfield dimensions of this field are cavernous due to the field's also being used as a soccer field. That is strike 3 swinging this time. Graffam strikes out for the second time. Francis gets his second K. And Jack LeBlanc will bat now. As I was saying, this field used for a multitude of athletic endeavors and baseball requiring a radically different set of dimensions is wont for balls rolling all the way to the softball field and being inside the park home runs. LeBlanc takes a ball. He flied out to center last time, fouls that one back to the backstop. And as I have been able to deduce, I've not gotten a 4-1-1 from the umpires on this, but it has happened enough times in the first game that I am confident to say that when a ball rolls into the red fence that you cannot see, but it's on the left field line, I believe partitioning the softball field from the baseball field, if it rolls into that or over it, it is a ground rule double. The Patriots had a few of those in their win in the first half of this doubleheader. That's lined right at the shortstop and through his legs for a base hit. Rounding first, going for second is Graffam, and he'll get there, or LeBlanc, excuse me. Graffam down to third, and by Graffam I mean Chessie. We're getting my names mixed up. That's a stand-up double for LeBlanc with one away. Runners on second and third. A golden opportunity for the Nor'easters to even this up, and Chris Balzano will be in the batter's box, to try and do just that. He grounded out on a comebacker to Francis his last time. And he hits that high, but caught by the left fielder Rogers. Tagging and scoring is Luke Chessie to put the Nor'easters on the board. So Balzano a sacrifice fly. And with two away, Gus Lappin will stand in. He also hit a comebacker to Francis. Francis had a busy last 2 outs of the second, it appears. That's shanked foul out of play. We're now getting vibrant shades of purple in this sunset. Just a little update for you. In fact, it's so vibrant that it's even overcoming the saturation issues that this camera is having. That's what you like to see on the longest day of the year. That's a strike. Francis with a man on second. That's lined into center field. That's going to fall down for a base hit. Rounding third and scoring easily is LeBlanc into second. Rounding second, going for third. And able to slide in there safely. May have hit his head a bit on the dirt, but got in with a slide-in triple. Gus Lappin drives in LeBlanc, and the Nor'easters are within one. So a 2-out rally against Lucas Francis, like his counterpart on the other side, proving himself mortal in these last couple frames. And Ryan Robertson now will stand in. Like so many of his teammates before him, failed to reach base against Francis the first time up. He grounded to third. Takes a strike. Grounds that through the hole, and that will score the tying run. Neither the third baseman nor the shortstop could get there. Lappin scores on the Robertson single, and we are tied at 3. Just like I was saying, these teams have a penchant for comebacks. And we're seeing just that in this bottom of the fourth. Hunter Brissett now with 2 away and a man on first. You can probably guess what happened to him his first time up. He got out, if the trivia question expired at that point. Flied out to center. That's a throwback to first. Bracette, sophomore USM, had 11 at-bats. Got a hit in one of them his freshman year. Cutting a miss for strike 2 while majoring in electrical engineering. There's a pun to be made there somewhere between that and the current 2-out rally that's unfolding, but I won't stoop to that level. Francis, the 0-2. Skied into the shallow outfield, running on it. And making the grab is the center fielder Poole, but the Nor'easters able to tie things up with a 3-run fourth inning. We head to the top of the 5th now, all knotted up at 3. To the 5th inning we go. Colin McDonald back on for his 5th frame of work. He's given up 3 hits, 3 runs, struck out 5. And actually, due to the number of warm-up pitches, I can correctly deduce that is not, in fact, Colin McDonald. We have had a pitching change, and that is Andrew Pruill coming on to relieve McDonald after 4 innings with the aforementioned stats. Pruill, a senior at Thomas College, native of Warren, Maine, Medomic Valley High School graduate. Try saying that 5 times fast. Made 15 appearances from the bullpen at Thomas College. 4.38 ERA and 24 2/3 innings pitched. The first man he will face, and who lines it over the jumping glove of the third baseman for a base hit, that was David Jurowitz, leading off the top of the 5th with a single. Max Cloutier, try as he might, was not 8 feet tall, could not make that grab. And now with a man on and none out, Davis Kibler, who struck out looking, will take a second crack at McDonald. Or, not McDonald, second crack at a pitcher in a Nor'easters uniform. That one dribbled down to first baseman, throwing on to McDonald, and just barely able to get the out. No, that he's called safe. Not able to communicate and coordinate properly there. So just like that, 2 pitches and 2 base runners. Jurowitz down to second, Kipler on first. And Pruill's given up 2 hits. Pruill is a criminal justice major at Thomas College. And the man he faces now is Lucas Francis, the pitcher. Showing bunt there, but that was high. Francis was nearly untouchable until the last half inning, where he allowed 3 runs to tie the game. Now we'll try to even the score. Showing bunt with no outs is the correct play. At the very least, you advance the runners. And conventional wisdom suggests pitchers are not the most adept batsmen. That's strike 1. The Lisbon High School product stands in and takes the ball low. It's ball 3. Certainly not the guy you want to give a free pass to, but we will see what Pruill does in this 3-1 hitters count as dusk really begins to fall in earnest. That's smacked into right field for a base hit. Rounding third, heading for home, and scoring with ease is David Jurowitz. And sliding into second on the throw to home is Lucas Francis with a slide-in double. Gets Kibler down to third and scores Jurowitz to put his Norsemen back in the lead. Thought better of bunting, and that wound up paying off. Now to the top of the order, the 3rd time through, Chris Cimino has singled and grounded out to second, takes a ball low. This sunset is about what it looked like. The viewers at home can see it as it looked like about 20 minutes ago. The sky is a deep blue now. That's strike, 1-1. Chimino is Scarborough native, NESCAC All-Academic in 2023. Hits that high, foul. No small feat, making All-Academic honors in a conference that includes schools such as Bowdoin, Tufts, Middlebury, and Chimino's School of Bates. He looks at a ball low. Of course, All-Academic is no small feat in any conference. 2-1. Perul trying to get out of it. That's high. Still none away. A single, and a double. 1 run already in. Runners on second and third. Francis and Kibler. Chimino can give his team a cushion, and that's just foul. The 6-1 lefty out of Chevrolet with a 3-1 count. And he looks at ball 4. So that will load the bases, still with none away. Francis and Kibler will keep their spots at their current bases, and a mound conference will commence. Skipper Max Zalewski, catcher Andrew Merrill out to check on their reliever. He has allowed 4 straight base runners and bases loaded with none out for the terrifying top of the Norsemen order, beginning with Anthony Poole, who doubled his last time up. That would score at least 3 runs. Poole will remain in the game. Poole, a South Portland native, hit .308 with 3 doubles, 7 runs batted in at USM his sophomore year, now a junior, while majoring in marketing. Poole deals. That's in for a strike. Shanked that foul into the ditch. Not quite a ditch. I wanted to scope that out in between the games. It's more of it's a set of bleachers that's just facing the woods. So perhaps a spare set of bleachers. That's in the dirt for a ball. Two. Poole. Outside for ball 3. A walk would score a run as the bases are juiced. The pond populated with 3 ducks. That is grounded to second, throws on to the shortstop for 1, but unable to turn the double play, and the run would have scored there regardless. Kibler makes it home for the Norsemen's 5th run. Francis down to third. And Poole into first on the fielder's choice. So the first out of the inning. And Riley Hassan, who has grounded out twice. Runner goes, throw down to second, and he's safe. Nope, he's safe, and then they called him out. Or did they call him out? Looked like the safe arms immediately followed by the out fist pump. Yes, it was out. So, an enormous pickoff by Andrew Merrill. The second man in as many pitches gunned down at second base. And all of a sudden, just a man on third with 2 outs for Hassan. Third in the GNCBL in batting. Though that mark is likely a bit lower after he's made 2 outs thus far. Pruill. That's fouled back for strike 2. Can he get out of this? Pruill's allowed 3 hits and 2 runs in this inning. That's high. Still has yet to make an out at the plate. Fielder's choice and a pickoff. Got the job done. Still a man on third, though. And that will be strike 3. Nope, strike 2. Without a designated scorekeeper, sometimes the count gets the better of you. That's grounded up the middle, running on the shortstop. Chessie throws past the first baseman. That will allow the run to score. Into second goes Hassan. On a ball that got past the first baseman, Graffam. It's tough with this depth perception we have to see if that was just past him or got through his glove, but in any event, 6-3 the score now. Francis able to complete his trip around the bases. And now another man on second for Cam Doohan, who grounded out to first and reached second on an error. Grounds that to first. Graffam on to tag, and that will in earnest retire the side. But the Norsemen double their run total, and in so doing reclaim their 3-run lead as we head to the bottom of the 4th, 6-3 here in Auburn. Bottom of the 5th, with Lucas Francis on for another inning of work. His bats have regained the lead for him. He, of course, had a part in that with a double. Ended up coming around to score for that 6th run. He will face off the trio of Cloutier, Gunlaw, and Merrill in this frame. Cloutier was the only man that was able to reach base legitimately against him the opening time. He singled. Was stranded at second when Andrew Merrill grounded out. That was in the 2nd inning, or the 3rd inning, excuse me. That's chopped to the second baseman. Chimino throws on to Seguin for the first out. And Dawson Gunlaw now, he has reached on an error and singled. And so that league-leading batting average only getting better. .538 his mark. He's also 3rd in the league in slugging. Takes strike 1. Batting leadoff for this team, despite being their most terrifying hitter. Strategy typically dictates the most dangerous hitters to bat 3rd or 4th. That's grounded past the diving 3rd baseman, Cam Doohan. That will be a single. Left fielder there to back him up is Nate Rogers. And just like that, Gunlaw does what he does best. Gets a hit. His 2nd of the game. Andrew Merrill has not been as fortunate. He's grounded out to 3rd and to 2nd. The Oxford Hills native. 6'2" right-hander, sophomore at East Connecticut State. Trying to break his dry spell. Grounds that through the hole, and he will do just that for a base hit. Advances Gunlaw to 2nd. Merrill aboard with his first hit. And so an eerie parallel of the last inning. 2 quick hits with none away. And the 3rd hitter, Luke Chessie, who flied out to right and singled, later come around to score. All right, excuse me, this is a pinch hitter. Michael Wern in the game, replacing Chessie. He looks at a ball. Wern, a junior at St. Joseph's. Ellington, Connecticut native. Batted .260 with 15 runs batted in, stole 3 bases with the St. Joseph squad. Takes a strike. Warren on in relief of Chessie. So he will take Chessie's spot at short. That's outside. And on away for the 6-1 righty. Chop foul. Graduate of East Catholic High School, where he served as a team captain his senior year for the baseball team. Then went to St. Joseph's, immediately made the all-rookie team in 2022. Also made all-third team for the GNAC, and he is down on strikes. Looks at a strike 3, third K of the night for Francis, who's regaining some of his form after a dicey last couple frames. Now another man on in relief, Dylan Furman, batting for Brady Graffam. He'll hit that high and deep to right, but foul. Furman will be the new acting first baseman. Sophomore at USM, Stratham, New Hampshire native. Had 12 at-bats with the Huskies, batted .417 as a freshman. Chips another one foul, 0-2. He's also an all-state level soccer player in high school, was Furman. Many multi-talented batters on the field today. Swing and a miss for strike 3 to retire the side. 2 hits to lead off the inning, but nothing comes of it. Lucas Francis able to keep his team's lead at 3 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Top of the 6th, despite what any broadcasters might tell you to the contrary. Andrew Pearl back on the mound, his second inning of work for the Nor'easters after giving up 3 runs in his last frame. And the man who, well, he didn't start that last inning, but he has batted. This is Nate Rogers, the left fielder, grounded out to second and struck out swinging. Looks at a strike. Rogers, a Portland native. Split time in high school between Cheverus and Falmouth. That's high for ball 2. Made the all-defensive team his senior year of high school at Cheverus. Cut and a miss. Down on strikes for the second time. Pruill gets his first K. And now Kevin Connolly, the catcher. Another former Cheverus Stag. Showing bunt. He has lined out to short and struck out swinging. A lot of that going around in this part of the lineup. And that's a strike. The 2-3-1 Norsemen leading the 4-3 Nor'easters, 6-3. That's grounded to short. Running on, throwing on to first. He's safe. Unable to get a clean glove on it is the new first baseman Dylan Furman. So with 1 away, Connolly's aboard. Probably would have been safe regardless. That was a bang-bang play, but doubt removed from the equation by the bobble. And now Ben Seguin will bat. A Scarborough High School graduate. 1 year behind yours truly. Sophomore at St. Joseph's cutting a miss for strike one. He is singled and grounded to short. Also came around to score on a steal of home plate on the double steal in the third inning. He led off the third inning with a single. Popped up high, but no play to be made. Merrill giving chase. That was a foul ball. I realize the foul territory is largely invisible because of this camera angle. So, 0-2. Just able to get a piece of it. Seguin, a 5'7" righty, business and sports management major, facing off against Pruill, the 6'2" right-hander, who throws over to first. Sunset has given way to night. It's every ball player's dream to get to play a game under the lights. And the fact that it's at Central Maine Community College surely does not dampen that at all. That's a cut and a miss. I mean that without a drip of sarcasm, though I see how it may have come across that way. This truly is a beautiful facility they all get to play in. Pruill gets his second K. Seguin is retired. Now, the star of the game so far for the Norsemen is David Jurowitz. He has singled twice, come around to score both times, including the heads-up base running play, instituting a double steal that allowed Seguin to score while no one was paying attention. Now he is up with a man on first, 2 down. Looks at a ball. Jurowitz, a sophomore at St. Joseph's from Sudbury, Massachusetts, a Lincoln Sudbury High School graduate, coming off the junior varsity team, looking to get some more experience, and that he has. That's high. As I was saying before his last big hit, he's a physical education major, certainly some overlap between his hobby of choice. Knows how to keep himself in shape. That's a strike. Stands the same height as the man he's facing down, 6'2". That's hit hard, but fouled on the left field line. This is the top of the 6th. 2 down, man on first. Fouled off to the left once more. Now, I truly am asking for a potential unfortunate event with the placement of this camera right in front of an open window, right in the line of fire of any potential line drive foul ball. Though it would have to really hit a target to really do any damage. These tripod legs are pretty thin. So it's a chance I'm willing to take. Runner goes, grounded down the third base line, fair. Rounding second into third. And rounding third now. He's have a stand-up double, throwing into third, and that probably would have been out, but he was not able to get a glove on the ball. That was the catcher, Merrill, and scoring all the way from first on that double, Kevin Connolly gives his Norsemen a 7-3 lead. Jurowitz, truly the man of the hour. His third hit of the game. And that will bring up Davis Kibler, who has singled and struck out looking. Chops that one to second. Throws on to first to retire the side, but one more run comes in to score. The Norsemen now lead at 7-3 as the bottom of the 6th approaches. To the bottom of the 6th we go. Lucas Francis on for his 6th inning of work, and he will face off against Jack LeBlond, who has flied out to center and singled. Later came around to score during that fruitful 4th inning. Looks at a strike. LeBlond, a Lewiston native, so not far from here. Unlike the rest of us, did not have to make a long commute. The cut and a miss for strike 2. Francis still working. Grounded to second. Cimino has it. Throws on to Seguin for the first out. LeBlond sits down. Now Chris Balzano ready to bat. He has grounded out to the pitcher and driven in a run via a sac fly after the Jack LeBlond single. Or advanced Jack LeBlond to second via sac fly. That's a ball. Balzano, political science major, Roger Williams, former all-state level hockey player at Thornton Academy. Took a gap year at Bridgeton Academy to hone his skills. That's a strike. 1-1, as many in this league do, before heading off to Rhode Island. And at Roger Williams as a sophomore, he hit .261 in 23 at-bats. 1-1. Just low. Inside to bring the count 3-1. Balzano wants to get something going. His team has not cracked the scoreboard since their 3-run 4th inning, and watched as the Norsemen have gotten 3 runs as a deficit, but a leadoff walk, a 1-out walk by Balzano. Gets a runner aboard with 1 away. Gus Lappin now. He is grounded out to the pitcher and tripled. Looks at a ball out of the glove of Connolly, but the runner stays put. Lappin, junior at Husson, South Portland native, so I wanted to stay close to home, relatively at least. Throw down to first. Hit .194, batted in 8 runs at Husson as a sophomore. In this game, he has tripled. Second man I've seen do that today. There was one in the first game as well. Grounds that to third, on to second for 1. Unable to turn the double play. But the second out is recorded. Balzano cut down at second. Lappin into first via fielder's choice. And now Ryan Robertson will bat, grounded out to third and singled. He's in right today. Normally catches for this team, but trying something new. He's a Bowdoin, Maine native, Mount Ararat High School graduate. Looks at a strike. Rising sophomore at Immaculata University. Last year, as a freshman, he got to bat just once, struck out. Grounded to short. Throws on to second to retire the side. Relatively quick inning for Lucas Francis in his 6th inning of work. And the Nor'easters struggling to get anything going. If they want to win this, they're going to have to do it most likely in walk-off style as we head to the 7th and final inning here in Auburn. The Norsemen set to bat. Francis, Cimino, and Poole in this top of the 7th. And attack on any runs they can in a 4-run lead Make it as hard as possible for the Nor'easters to pull off a comeback. Do what the Norsemen themselves did to the Patriots the last time they were out. That's low for a ball to Francis, who has struck out swinging and doubled. Smacks that one to first base, throws on to Proul, able to beat him to the bag for the first out. And that will bring up the top of the order. Starting with Chris Cimino, who has singled, walked, and grounded to second. He's also been picked off. Looks at a strike. The leadoff man for the Norsemen batting with one away. That's just high. Proul back on the mound for one more inning. And that's hit hard into left field. Running on and making the grab, though, is the left fielder, Chris Balzano. 2 away. For Anthony Poole, who has struck out, doubled, and reached on a fielder's choice before being picked off himself. Drove in a run as he takes strike one. Barring a miraculous comeback, he may be the final man to bat here for the Norsemen. And in fact, he will, regardless of what happens, if he does indeed get out, because we are a league of ties. Proul, the 0-2. Chopped to second. Running on Lappin, throws to first and able to stay on the bag. Quite an acrobatic display from Dylan Furman to get the third out. And that will be it for the Nor'easters defense. In the bottom of the 7th, they have a 4-run mountain to climb, and stay right here to see how they do. Welcome back to Auburn for this 14th and final frame of this doubleheader. Hope you all have enjoyed watching and listening. It's been a pleasure to cast it. You know who else is having a good time? Lucas Francis, back on the mound for a 7th inning, looking to complete this complete game. Just allowed 3 runs, all of them in the 4th inning. He will face off against Hunter Brissett, Max Cloutier, and Dawson Gunlaw. Brissett stands in now. He looks at a strike. He has flied out to center field twice. He and Francis, both from the small town of Lisbon. Up in the, I believe that's in this area, in Androscoggin County, but I may be wrong. Outside. Francis pitching a gem, 6 innings. And 3 strikeouts, just 3 hits. And by 3 hits, I mean 6 hits, because this is not updated. But that's another strikeout. His 4th of the night. Brissett goes down. 2 outs to go. And now Max Cloutier, who has singled and grounded to second, will bat. Sophomore at St. Lawrence. 6'1" righty out of Greeley. Looks at a ball. As I was saying, Francis, this is not the first time I've casted him, but it's certainly the most lights out he's been. That's hit down the foul line. Aside from one frame, he has been nearly untouchable. Outside of that 4th inning, he has allowed just 3 hits and 6 total base runners. Struck out 4, has not walked, only walked 1, and 2 men have reached on errors. 1-2. Lined into center field. That'll drop for a base hit. Cloutier aboard for the second time tonight. And that will bring up the top of the order. Dawson Gunlaw. And his white-hot bat. He has singled twice, reached on an error. His league best batting average only going up. And they could use a spark here from the business management major out of St. Joseph's. That's high for ball 2. Gunlaw hit .264 with 1 home run, batted in 18 runs with the Monks his junior year. Francis deals. That's a strike. Gunlaw made the pilgrimage all the way from York. A journey I do not envy. But he has come and he has showed up. Fouled back stays alive on that one. Even while the team around him has been a bit quieter. Francis is 2-2. Man on first, 1 out. Deals. Chop to short. Throws on to Seguin at first to get him. And 2 away here. Cloutier advances to second. Gunlaw is put away for the first time tonight. And any miraculous comeback attempt will rest on the shoulders of a lot of people, starting with Andrew Merrill, who has singled and grounded out twice. Francis trying to complete a complete game gem. That's a ball outside to start him off. If Merrill can reach base, the pinch-hitting duo of Michael Warren and Dylan Furman await. Both of them struck out their first times. Francis. That is grounded to short. That may do it. Over to Seguin at first. And that will indeed be all she wrote. The Norsemen capture the second half of this doubleheader, winning by a score of 7-3. They bring their record to 3-3-1, dropping the Nor'easters to 4-4. Lots of parity in the standings right now. All 4 teams have more or less even records. I think they may all exactly be even, counting ties. But that will conclude a beautiful day of baseball here at the Central Maine Community College field in Auburn. If you are watching this and haven't watched the first of the pair of games I called, I recommend you go check that one out. And in the meantime, I've been Charlie Fellows, and I thank you all for watching.